You're listening to SM Media, the #1 place for exclusive content.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Scottish Football Show Extra right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike, delighted to be your host as always. It's a Pollok special this week. We are going through every club in the league, and we are at the turn of Pollok. We are joined by Pollok's manager, Murdo MacKinnon. Murdo, it's a pleasure to welcome you onto the show. Thanks very much for joining me.
No, thanks for having us.
Brilliant, delighted to have you on. And as a late substitute, we are joined by Chris Duff. Chris, it's a pleasure to welcome you onto the show. Thanks very much for coming on at such short notice.
Story of my season. Substitute. Cheers.
No worries. How are you been, Murdo? How are you kind of been at the start of the season? We'll get into kind of the season in more detail, but so far, 12 games, 32 points. You must be relatively happy with second place so far.
Aye, the boys are motoring along nicely, growing well. We've been on a decent wee run of late, and we're kind of winning games and stuff like that. So I'm relatively happy how things are going. A couple of bumps along the way, but overall, I'm relatively happy, and hopefully we'll get more wins on the horizon. Yeah,
definitely. Chris, how have you found been back at football after a kind of layoff? Obviously, last season Pollok never took part, and it was obviously a hectic season. How are you feeling just being back at football and having the fans back?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's really enjoyable just getting back kind of out there. We had that kind of long layoff. Do you know the thought of getting back? It was well, I should have, but the deciding to go back into it was. I was thinking to myself, thank God I've done that. Best thing ever. Just to get back there, back with the boys, training. Yeah. See, getting the fans back into the grounds, it helps massively.
Yeah, definitely. It's been great to have the fans back, and great, obviously, to get the football back in full flow. But we'll start off by talking a bit about the Scottish Cup that took place over the weekend. Auchinleck, Clydebank, Darvel have all progressed into the second round. Obviously, Auchinleck beat Irvine Meadow 3-1. Our very own Shankers with a goal that's been talked about all over sports scene. It's been all over the BBC if you've seen it. Murdo, what was your kind of result of the round? Obviously, Cumnock got a replay as well. Glasgow University lost to Broomhill. What was your thoughts on the West teams in the Scottish Cup this weekend?
Obviously, Cumnock getting a good result for maintaining. I've got the replay to come. Then getting that result was great. The big game, obviously, Talbot and Medda. Been involved in many of the games myself over the past, so I know how feisty they can be. And Medda obviously being up in the game so late on in the game, but Talbot do what Talbot do, don't they? They come back, and the man Shankland that you mentioned there, Shankland has always got a goal and a bit of quality about him. So it's no surprise, to be honest with you. And obviously Clydebank going through the big day, it was quite a bit of a celebration for them. Yeah. So they did that convincingly. So yeah, good for the kind of West teams that went through. Unfortunately, Irvine Meadow having to lose out with the two West teams playing each other. Yeah, and Darvel obviously going through as well. So it's good for the league. Good for the league.
I'd agree with that. Chris, what was your thoughts in the Scottish Cup? Any results catch your eye?
Obviously, the Talbot Medda game was for me the big one. Keep an eye on. So that was one that caught my eye, and it's just to reiterate what Murdo says, the Clydebank winning 7-0 and Darvel going up north and winning 2-1. It was a good day all round, wasn't it, for the West?
We'll look a bit about the teams who will play in the second round. Auchinleck will face a trip to Preston Athletic. Clydebank will be at home to Elgin. Darvel will be away to Stranraer, and if Cumnock were to see off for Martin in the replay on Saturday, they play Forfar at home. Murdo, who do you think's got a relatively good draw out of that?
Obviously, Clydebank, Preston, Athletic. I think Clydebank will be relatively happy with that draw. The other clubs getting those senior ties. Really difficult games. When you look at those, obviously Darvel going to Stranraer. That'll be a tough game. Obviously, a couple of extra Stranraer players on the Darvel side, so it'll be quite an exciting tie. I would imagine. I'm sure Mick and these boys will be really looking forward to that. And obviously Elgin. Elgin are coming to Clydebank, aren't they? So
yeah, Elgin, Clydebank, Preston will play Auchinleck.
So Auchinleck obviously getting a decent tie there. So Elgin coming to think they're coming to home park, aren't they? Elgin?
Yes, they are. Yeah, it's a home tie for
Well, I'm sure
Clydebank.
there'll be a big turnout for that, and it would be it'll be a tough tie as well. And obviously, Clyde and Cumnock, I think they'll be their thoughts will be getting on Saturday and getting through that replay before they start to look at Forfar coming. So it's a lot of good ties there.
Yeah, definitely. See, just before we go on to talk to Chris about it, see when you see like Auchinleck, Clydebank, Darvel kind of going into the Scottish Cup, is that a place where Pollok want to be in the future? Yeah, is it or kind of been talked about that that's the kind of next step?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. We want to play at the highest level we can, so whether that's been getting promoted through the pyramid or whether it's going into the Senior Scottish Cup. I certainly want to do that as a manager. I know the boys want to do that. So it's something we'll look forward to in the future, I'm sure. Obviously plans are underway and things are ongoing at the club to make that happen. So we'll let the people do their jobs, and which they do well, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity in the near future.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, what about this draw for you for the Scottish Cup? Is there any ties that catch your eye? Darvel to Stranraer, Clydebank home to Elgin, Talbot away to Preston Athletic, and Cumnock potentially playing Elgin at home.
Cumnock at home to Elgin.
Cumnock are at home to Forfar, sorry.
Aye, it's just, I get the three senior kind of draws there, innit? They kind of stand out. I can imagine if you're playing for Clydebank, Darvel, that waking up that morning, going in against one of them, for me, they stick out. The senior kind of ties, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely. But we'll move in to talk about the start of the season Pollok have made. We'll just run through, as we say, second in the league so far, 32 points from 12 games, 10 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats. Murdo, if you'd said at the start of the season you'd be sitting second in the league with 10 wins, 2 draws and 2 defeats, would you have took it?
That's a hard question. It's a hard question. In hindsight, when I look back at the games, the points that were dropped and stuff like that, there's an element of frustration there, and I know the boys share the kind of frustration there as well. I can't be too hard on them, obviously, because we're coming out of a period that we've been at the game for, a good while, and the boys getting up to speed and stuff. But listen, I've got a great bunch of lads. They're tremendous, Chris included, and they come back. They work ever so hard to get back. And like I said earlier, we've had a couple of bumps in the road. People have highlighted the defeat to Bonnyton, defeat to Cumnock as well. We've drawn with Largs and we've drawn with Hurlford. And when I look in reflection, I look at all that. We missed chances, and obviously I'm not just highlighting strikers here, but we missed a lot of chances in those games, particularly the 2 defeats that perhaps we should have came away, just be something that the game probably winning the games. And obviously the draws, the Largs result, it was kind of 94th minute penalty, which wasn't a penalty at the end of the day, but it was. Listen, again, that's another game that probably should have been out of sight, and probably the penalty didn't matter at the time. So we're on downfall a wee bit there. But overall, listen, I'm happy. I'm happy with what I'm seeing with the lads just now. They're pushing hard. They're working hard to try and make improvements. So I've got to be relatively happy, Scott. But would I accepted it before we kicked a ball? I don't know.
That's what's been your thoughts in the start of the season. It makes for good reading, obviously sitting second in the league. But what's been kind of your thoughts and the team's thoughts and the performance so far?
I don't think you'd ask for much more. As the gaffer said, you look back, you look at the league table now, and Bonnyton have only got one victory so far, and you look back saying, no disrespect to Bonnyton, we should really be going and winning that game comfortably. And on the night, I thought Bonnyton played really well. I really did. Other than that, for the season, I think we've been great. I really do. We've got this kind of system and formation that we've stuck by, and we look strong and rigid, and you couldn't ask for better for me. 10 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats. It's a great start. And the last kind of month there, the big games against Darvel, Clydebank, winning, questions were asked, and we've come up trumps in all 3 of them. So it's a big kind of statement for me.
Yeah. Murdo, see that, obviously, you talk about that result against Bonnet, and I think it did shock a lot of people. Obviously, it was a 3-1 away defeat. That was the second game of the season, though. Do you think that result and that early in the season, compared to maybe now, where obviously no disrespect to Bonnet, but that's been their only win of the season, do you think that is different at the start of the season than maybe halfway in when Bonnet and are really struggling for form? Or what was kind of the what was kind of your thoughts after that performance? Was it just a case of Bonnet were the better team in the day, or were you maybe struggling for sharpness or things like that? Like, what was your kind of overall thoughts in that particular game?
Coming back, kind of in reflection, you need to look at yourself as well. It's easy for me to criticise the players but you need to look at yourself and what you did myself, and an element of responsibility. The responsibility for the result lies with me ultimately. But thinking back on some of the changes that I made in the team, the big squad at that point, and I think my thought process was that it wasn't about kind of rotating them or doing anything like that. But when you've got so many good players, I should be able to put a team out in the park and go and get a result there, and keeping people fresh, and because we're at that point where you're Saturday, Wednesday, and it was, it can take its toll. So, but ultimately it didn't work out. So I've got to take a bit of responsibility there myself. As Chris said, it's important not to be disrespectful to Bonneton, because they turned up on the night. They turned up and the boys performed well and they worked really, really hard. And saying that, during the game, when we miss key chances, we miss one-on-ones with a goalie at 0-0, 1-0 and 1-0. So there's a frustration there of missing chances again, which in goals change games. And there's a couple of individual errors for their goals kind of later on in the game, and that kind of kills it off. So it wasn't a good day at the office, that's for sure. But as Chris mentioned, that one victory that they've had, even my wife's not letting me forget that. You know what I mean? Kind of through the season, and it's one. But I'm sure. Listen, I'm sure Bonneton will pick up further points as they go through the season. They've had a sticky patch up until now. They've got good energy. They've got good people there in the background, and Alan Robertson and stuff like that, who organise them extremely well and put a lot into it. So, no, I wish them well. And like I say, if that defeat was to happen next week, I wouldn't be happy. But it's one of these things. I need to put it into experience. We need to move on.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, you've obviously bounced back really well for that Bonneton result, with 5 wins for your next 6 games. Glenafton, Rutherglen, a 5-1 result against Bees, Roseville 6-1, and then a 5-1 over Cumbernauld. What changed? What was the kind of difference? Obviously, a lot more goals been scored. What was the kind of difference for that? Was that a kind of turning point in the Bonneton game to go on a kind of great run? Yeah,
I think so. I don't know, maybe mindsets. I don't know, getting into this game against Bonneton, some of the players, maybe it's a new team. Did we think we should just arrive there and kind of win? And that was maybe a wee bit up the backside we needed. I know it was early on in the season, just to say, like, every team in this league can beat you. It's such a competitive league, isn't it? So it was, as the gaffer said, I think it was just such early on in the season. We just maybe got cold a wee bit. As they say, if you played them now, you surely shouldn't be getting beat 3-1. So a momentum swing, and it just, as you say, we've scored goals there for fun in the next few games. So it was definitely a turning point.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Murdo, what did you find the kind of big difference was in that run? Obviously, B result sticks out, 5-1. Obviously, they've been really good as well so far this season. Was it good to get goals coming in now, like, as opposed to maybe the first 2 games where maybe the Bonneton game where you, as you say, you missed a lot of one-on-ones? Was it good to get the goal scoring boots back? Yeah,
it's always good to score goals in the games, obviously. Like I say, I've got a smashing bunch of players in there, and the change in the personnel, I changed the formation that night down at Bonneton and stuff like that. So I've been kind of probably lesson learned a wee bit. And we've been quite consistent in our approach and what we've been doing. We've had some injuries, but everybody's had injuries. I'm yet to meet a manager who at our level who hasn't had injury problems within their squads. But you just need to go on it. And when you've got good players like Chris in your team who can go and they can create things and score goals, I'm kind of blessed in my squad with players that can do that. Do you know what I mean? I've got a lot of really top players in the squad who work really, really hard, and they're always a threat. They're always a threat. But I agree with Chris there to a certain extent. Even reflecting back myself, but obviously I think the players really kind of reflected back on what had happened that night, and really picked them up, picked ourselves up, and got us going. But like you say, beating Bees 5-1, that's no mean feat. Bees are a good side. Do you know what I mean? They're a good side with good players, and they were picking up results at that point as well, Glenaftons and stuff like that. So, Chris has mentioned that, in my opinion, our league's so strong. everybody can beat everybody within the league. You know, if you don't turn up and you're not at it, you're in trouble. You know, so I was pleased with the reaction more than anything. You know, and I noticed a wee difference in kind of mentality the previous years about the group, not about individuals, about the group. You know, which has been great. It's been refreshing, and we've got some young players in the group as well, Scott. You know, a couple of younger lads, 19 and 20, and I don't know. You know, that sometimes makes a wee difference as well, because they don't have any fear, don't they? Know they don't have any fear about their football and about the game and stuff like that. Sometimes that can spread across the group to the older, more experienced players as well. You know, so it's been great. They've been great since then. So I can't complain. Fingers crossed we continue.
Chris, see, obviously the start of the season, it was Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah.
How did you find that after such a long layoff?
I loved it. I've always loved all the players that you prefer to play on a Wednesday when you Wednesday, Saturday, no training. I've always loved it. Just as many games as possible. For me, anyway. I know there's some players that kind of the morning growing, they're stiff and they're tight. But personally, my point of view, a Wednesday, Saturday's a dream. I love it. I love playing the midweek football.
Yeah. Murdo, that Hurlford game that I watched, I kind of covered that game for the channel. I really thought, at times, Hurlford were probably the better team in the first half. The second half, I think Pollok got more into it. Was that a disappointing game that it finished 0-0? Because it looked as if both teams had plenty of chances.
It was, you know, Hurlford played their strengths, obviously, down there. That's a tough place to go.
Right.
And Darren's always got a well-organised, you know, team, really well-organised and well-drilled and that, you know, so you know it's going to be a tough game. I thought there was a couple of key chances in the game. I think we had two really great chances with two headers that we didn't take. It's probably one of the performances that you know, it wasn't as flattering as normal. I didn't think we were as fluent as normal down there. But again, that's credit to Hurlford as well, because it's, you know, how competitive they are. You know, but listen, I've played, like I said to the lads after that game, you know, I've went down to Blair Park and I've played much better and come away with no points. Right. You know, getting beat 1-0 or something like that. So no, they're a tough nut to crack, Hurlford, and you know they'll be a threat this season to so many teams. You know, so no, ultimately the bottom line with the game is, as I say, the senior there, Scott, and it was. I didn't think it was the best game in the world. Do you know what I mean? Either side, you know. But when you get a couple of chances, like the chances that we had, you know, they can be the difference. You know, just taking them and getting the 3 points in a game that you're not playing particularly well in and getting up the road. But listen, again, in reflection, you look back on the game. You know, a draw is probably a fair result, and a point's probably a fair result for it. You know, but as I say, you know, we need to try and, when these chances come, you know, we try and take them. But I'm sure Darren at the other side will be saying the same thing. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, how have you found the standard of the league this season? Obviously, there's 20 teams in it. There's a lot more games. How have you kind of found the standard so far in the games you've played?
For just the usual for me in the West, I think it's top standard. Every team you play against, as I say, you look at the league table on that night against Bonington. I really thought they had some right good players, causes problems at times, and I thought to myself, they'll pick up some points along the way. I know they're not so far, but. And then again, you look at other teams who are maybe lingering down the bottom. You come up against some of them, and again, they've got some right good players there. And it's just it's a usual standard for me. It's good, very, very, very good.
Yeah, Murdo, how have you found the difference in the league? Obviously, you've kind of come through the when it was kind of 12 teams, 16 teams. How's it been with obviously the more teams getting added to the league? Do you feel the standard has improved?
Aye, standard-wise, it's improved. The number of games is incredible. You know, it's like thinking. I think Saturday was our 14th league game.
Aye.
And yeah, that's nearly a season. You know, I remember it was 20 and 22 games. It's, you know, you're coming towards the end of the season. There, so the number of games. Listen, the league's certainly it's become, I think, more professional. I think the standard of the teams within it, I think the standard of the facilities, credit to all the teams that are going out to try and improve their infrastructure and the facilities for not only their players, their environment for their players and stuff like that, but their supporters and the people who come to watch the game at our level. So I'm sure that's attracting more people. When you look at the crowds for the games, maybe the weekend, ourselves in Co-winning, Clydebank Scottish Cup tie, things like that. So big crowds being drawn to these games. But on the flip side, from a manager's perspective, it's a bit of a nightmare. I know, though, the number of games, because we were mentioning earlier on this to Chris. Chris loves the Wednesday, Saturday. From my point of view, it becomes difficult in terms of preparation. Your Monday training becomes recovery. It's limited in what you're doing there. If you do need to make changes, if things have went wrong, then it's very difficult to try and make those changes. Particularly if you're going for a Wednesday game, it's not went well into a Saturday game. You've not got any time with the players and stuff like that. So there's a lot of change. There's a lot we've had to adapt to. And I say I'm not being critical yet. It's a lot we've had to really adapt to, and the players have had to adapt to. But I've got to be honest with you, like I said at the start, it's been brilliant. It's been brilliant to be back. It's been brilliant back in with my squad of players and back into the games and back at Newlands Field with the crowds and all that. It's been tremendous.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that. Chris, the 1-0 defeat to Cumnock and then the 1-1 draw with Lags, was that just a kind of dip in form, or was there other things to take away for those two games?
I just think we're not going to go through the full season like any club and just keep winning. So it was just a wee dip in form. The game against Cumnock, it was a snatch and grab for me. Cumnock, again, we created a lot of chances, missed some clear-cut chances. And then same with Largs. Again, they scored a penalty in the 94th minute. Created plenty of chances. Should have scored 2-3. But again, we all know what happens in football. You don't take the chances, and it's like a sucker punch. So it was, for me, it was a wee dip in form for a few days. But we've come back to life again, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. Murdo, what was your thoughts on those two games?
Like Chris said, it's kind of been one of my themes, with the players about taking chances, killing games off. The games there, the Cumnock game, we had really good chances, particularly in the first half. There were probably 2 or 3. The goalie's made a great save for Sean Fraser on the line. I don't know how he saved it, to be totally honest with you, but it's one of those games where you get chance after chance, and you just get that feeling, Scott. You're going to root it. Missing these chances, and it was a bit of a sucker punch. We gave away a kind of weak goal, which wasn't great. But for that, and again went to the last game at Newlands Field, Chris is bang on the money there. We had a number of chances to go and kind of put the game out of sight, and these things can happen. I'm saying it wasn't a penalty. It wasn't a penalty, but the bottom line is it's one of the ones where it shouldn't really have mattered. We'd have been disappointed to lose the goal, obviously, but it really shouldn't have mattered to the result. And ultimately, it's a lesson learned again. About maybe killing games off. But these teams are highly competitive. Listen, Cumnock, Largs, highly competitive teams, good sides. Good management teams, well organised, all that. So no game's going to be easy. And that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. 4 wins in a row after that, including very good wins against Darvel, Clydebank, and obviously we'll touch on the game at the weekend against the Buffs in a few minutes. But Chris, the result against Darvel and then going to Clydebank and picking up a massive result, that must have been a really good boost for the confidence of the dressing room.
You could feel it, just the kind of build up to the Darvel game into the changing rooms, just the togetherness and the week leading up to Darvel, and then obviously getting the victory. You just feel the buzz about the training and getting into Clydebank, beating Clydebank. It just helped the morale and just everything kind of boosted, and it's just, you can just feel it around the place. Do you know that way when you win the kind of big games? So it was certainly very good. Yep.
What was your thoughts in the games, Murdo? Obviously, Darvel, we know obviously what Darvel and Clydebank's ambition is. Like, was it good to get their results on the board, especially going to Clydebank and a massive result away from home?
Aye. Listen, Darvel, Clydebank, winning Saturday, all top sides. Good players. About them, well set up again, well drilled, as you say. So the games are not going to be easy. So other clubs will be sitting back when those games are taking place and hoping they kind of cut each other up and somebody's got to drop points, that kind of thing. But it's credit to my group of players who have come through those 3 games, against tough opposition, and being top class, to be honest with you. Their performances within them were great. In the Darvel game, the boys were absolutely outstanding. Could have scored a couple more. Darvel were a good side, really good side, and we had to beyond more game, and Clydebank as well, I know they get a man sent off, but I think Chris will probably agree, is, in that game I kind of felt the same off kind of hindered us a wee bit, rather than helped us, because we, I thought we were well on top, and then we kind of started, we stopped kind of playing a wee bit against 10 men. It can become difficult, but we see the game out and we get the game won, and kind of comfortably, and then on to Saturday again, it's just kind of momentum, isn't it? It's just kind of win after winning, as Chris said, the boys are getting confidence with that. And it's the big games that guys like Chris and the other boys in the squad want to play. And that's why they're at Pollok. They want to play in these big games, big crowds, So, no, they've done remarkably well. They've done brilliantly, and I'm delighted, really proud of them. Done brilliant.
Chris, obviously on Saturday, the late winner, you scored. How big a feeling was that to score that late winner?
Amazing. But that's my first competitive goal in 18 months, I think.
Aye.
It's around about 18 months, obviously we had the layoff, but it was the Scottish Cup against Nielsen, so that was a good 18 months ago. So I have a struggle with an injury to start the season, so I have been working really hard to try and get myself back up to match sharpness. I've played with the 20s for a game, gone runs, just working hard. So to score that on Saturday, a couple of minutes to go coming on, it was incredible. Honestly, brilliant. Just reminds you how much you love football again, I tell you.
Yeah, definitely. Murdo, who's been some of the kind of key players to get back? Obviously, Chris has played his part. There's a lot of players. Is there any kind of particular standouts to you so far this season?
Obviously, Chris coming back and getting Chris fit again has been a massive boost for us. He gets his goal on Saturday, and that's his reward for all his hard work. Because he was flying in pre-season and getting an injury, it's kind of setback. A top player, but we've got a lot of good players, and like I say, I mentioned the kind of younger lads in my team, and Matty Grant and Johnny Lyon have been a breath of fresh air. They've been excellent, and big David Brownlee coming into the squad. Signed him from Lithgow Rose. He's been excellent since he's come. But usual guys that are there, your Jordan Longmuirs, Mark Sidesurfs, I mentioned Josh Lumsden as well, another goalkeeper who's played some of the games as well. Josh is a really good goalkeeper as well. So, we've had a lot of good performances. I'd have to say Sean Fraser's, and but we're awash with good players. I'm fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate with the squad of players that I have. And we're able to go on these runs, missing Paul Gallagher for a long time, missing Gary McCann. We lengthy injuries. Like missing guys like this. Out the squad, losing Jordan Shelby unfortunately to work, and there's been some blows there, but it's credit to the boys that are there, and credit to the quality of the squad as well, that we're able to go and still compete and get these results and keep winning games. But the three games that you mentioned, getting the goals, Josh Weir's goal against Darvel and Clydebank, tremendous, and Chris's goal on Saturday, the place erupted. It was tremendous. It was brilliant. It's what football's all about, innit? You know what I mean? Scoring that time, in the game. So in a really evenly matched game as well, you know what I mean? It's kind of two good teams going at each other and no much in the game, to be totally honest with you, and getting the win is great. It's what the game's all about, It's Chrissy's celebration and all.
I didn't know what
I've watched that a couple of times.
I was going to my papa.
It was brilliant, but it's good to see, and it's good to hear their own back getting the own team on as well. The crowd goals getting scored late, and it's like it was before the pandemic and all that. So no, brilliant. It was brilliant. The last Saturday was great. It was a great game. Great result for us as well.
Yeah, definitely. That concludes our look at Pollok's start to the season. We'll touch a bit on both of your careers. Obviously, we'll start with Chris. Where did you kind of start your career? When did you first kind of get noticed that you could potentially play football?
7-year-old. I'm from Montcampsie, so my dad kind of got us into the kind of boys club team at 7. I was there for a few years, and I went to Clyde's youth development for a few years, and then from 11 to 13 into Rangers, and then after Rangers it was to Gretna, and then obviously what happened to Gretna, I eventually went and just played boys club football after that, 16 to 19. Was it Campsie Blackwatch to maybe 20, maybe even 21, and then I kind of had a job in Edinburgh, and I was kind of missing training, couldn't really make it, so I kind of left and just kind of didn't play football only for a few weeks, And I went to my big brother's amateur team, Camps of Minerva.
Right.
Really enjoyed that. Was there for, how long was I there? For 18 months I was there for. Toughened me up, let's say that, playing amateur football, I tell you. And I went to the Rob Roy after that for 4 or 5 years. And then Rob Roy to Queen's Park, to Cambuslang, and then to Pollok.
Mm-hmm. See, Queen's Park, who was your manager at Queen's Park?
Gus.
Was Mark Roberts there as well?
No. Big Winnie was there.
What was your memories like at Queen's Park? Obviously, big club, with big history. Gus McPherson, a good character as well. What's your kind of memories of your time at Queen's Park?
Oh, it was brilliant. Loved it. It reels you in with getting the opportunity to play at Hampden. That's the big kind of reeling. So just experiencing it. The training Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday with Gus, getting put through your paces. Oh my! I'll tell you, I'll never forget that. I'll tell you.
You must have a good story, a Gus McPherson story. Come on, give us one.
Nah, I've not got any. And just being in there, playing at Hampden on that surface, and then we're in the Betfred Cup, and on BT Sport against Motherwell in the first kind of cup game of the season, and I was on the bench and I came on at the 55th minute, and experiencing that, getting on BT Sport, and your family are watching it, and playing against Motherwell. Don't get me wrong, I don't even know if I touched the ball, but just that feeling and experience, it's something I'll never ever forget. Never. And
then obviously you go to Cambuslang, and then your short spell at Rossvale before Pollok. What was your kind of time like at Cambuslang, then Rossvale, and how did you eventually sign for Pollok?
It was, again, great. I was with big David Green at Queen's Park, and he'd left and went to Cambuslang, so he kind of got me in there for, again, a season and a half. Got promoted into the Premier Division. Again, I was promoted with the Rob Roy, so that feeling of getting the club at the Premier League, it was brilliant, great. And then just kind of whatever happened. We had to kind of leave, and I went to Rossvale. And again, Gary and Gordon, who are at Clydebank, they're my kind of good friends. I was kind of friends with them at the Rob Roy. So I kind of went in there for the kind of second half of the season. And again, loved it. Again, with my friends, so really enjoyed that. Got the club promoted. Great feeling, getting promoted. And then obviously signed for the gaffer at Pollok. And
when did you first kind of get the word of going to Pollok? How did it come about?
It was just before I went to Rossvale. I kind of spoke to Murdo, but I kind of had an agreement with kind of Gary Moff. I was going to kind of go in and help them just to the end of the season. It was, and Rossvale played in Bishop Briggs, which is only 10-15 minutes from my house. So it was kind of ideal when I kind of had an agreement with Murdo. I would go there and just play the end of the season, and then come into Pollok the start of 2 years ago it was, and get going for there.
Brilliant. Murdo, we'll touch a bit on your playing career. Obviously, what was your kind of favourite memories of your playing career? There must be a couple that stick out to
you. Listen, a lot of good memories. As I say, that wasn't as glittery as Chris's career, that's for sure. But no, playing younger levels, the boys' clubs and all that stuff was brilliant. Great memories back then. I remember playing in Glasgow Green when it was Red Ash and all that. You know what I mean? Remember doing all that. I don't know if Chris will remember, but Red Ash.
Red Ash. I played concrete.
So playing the Ash and all that was great. And played in the 21s and that was good. But I mean, my first spell in the juniors, I was 18. Actually, I'll tell you, I was 16. When I played at St Roxer a wee while when I was 16. Believe it or not, Peter Taggart and that, and met some characters there, Andy Heafy and all that. It was tremendous. So I was, but young kid, you're not getting much of a look in and that, and going back out to the boys' clubs and that, and then going to Shelton, and that's where I actually met Budgie, assistant first time I played at Shelton. I think it was only 18. Budgie was probably about 40 at that time. No, he's coming to the other end. He was in the kind of last stage of his career anyway there, but still at that point, top player, really, really top defender, fit, competitive, read the game brilliant, and guys in there like Charlie Spears and all that, Jamesy McNeil, real top players, Peter Lamont, Peter Johnsons. Learning for they guys was tremendous. It was absolutely brilliant. But I enjoyed one period of my football career I did enjoy was my spell at under 21s. Played with Knightswood. Chris mentioned Campsie Blackwatch here. Played with Knightswood, and a very, very successful team there. Won the Scottish Cup and all that, Hampden. It was a lot of good players coming out of that team. I wouldn't include myself in this, in that, but it'd be, you know, guys like Davy Turnbull, who went on to play with Mary Hall and Pollok and Welsh Hull, Willie McKellar, Derek Simpson, all played at Mary Hall and stuff like that. James McClellan, who played at Peters Hill, stuff like that. So a really strong squad there. But again, going to Glencairn and Benburn and stuff like that, and the kind of relationship I had playing under John Conlon and Stevie Rankin and Willie Patterson and that stuff, and obviously forging kind of relationship there to move into my coaching career and management career with Stevie latterly was, you know, meeting a lot of people, connecting with a lot of people. It was great, and you know, I enjoyed my football career. You know, it was good. I enjoyed playing in the juniors. I enjoyed the trips. I enjoyed the banter with the boys. Some of the stories I could tell you, honestly, some of the things that happened was unreal, man. Absolutely unreal. So it was. People wouldn't believe half the things, man. Guys like Paul McDougall and all that in the dressing room. McDougall was half his head. Do you know what I mean? Just I don't even know if he would last in the dressing room. Honestly, some of the boys, some of the things he got up to, cutting people's gear up and all that, it was terrible. Honestly, you come in for training, and your trousers are cut at the knees and all that. You know, it was tie cutting. It was disgraceful. You know, but it was. It was, thinking back, it was some laugh. You know, it was really good. It was really funny, man. Back in the days, but like I say, I don't know if they'll get away with it now, Scott. I don't know if it would happen nowadays. But you know, some characters run about there playing like Paul McDougall, Mick McBrearties, and guys like that. You know, really top guys. You know what I mean? They brought it to life, didn't they? They brought it to life. Even when you're playing down the leagues, you know what I mean? It still meant the world, didn't it? So it was great. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Definitely. You obviously move into do a bit of coaching, particularly youth level. You were at Hamilton and Rangers. Did you take a keen interest in kind of bringing young players through? Was that always your kind of ambition?
Something I thought about. Actually, St Mirren was my first club. That was it in kind of youth football. So a couple of years at St Mirren, 4-5 at Hamilton, and 4-5 at Rangers as well. You know, so I was doing that at the same time as you were playing and all that. So you're kind of coaching. A lot of boys do that nowadays. It was probably a wee bit no as widely done, you know, back then. But you know, a lot of boys are doing it now, and you know, I encourage that boys, you know, develop their understanding of the game and all that, and doing it. But you know, working in environments like that, Hamilton was a really good environment to work in. You know, they had a real belief in their youth system and stuff like that, and invested a lot of time in us and what we were doing, you know, to try and get it right. And they've obviously reaped rewards for that as a club. You know, overall, I still know some, still very friendly with some of the people at Hamilton. You know, and into Rangers, working in an environment there, you know, unreal. But getting to see guys, you know what I mean, coach at a really high level. You know, guys that have played at a really high level as well, and learning for them, tremendous. You know what I mean, guys like Tommy Wilson and you know, Billy Kirkwood, and you know, obviously Walter Smith was the manager at that point. You know, and McCoy and stuff like that. So you get to have a sneak peek at the training and what's happening, what's going on, and at the club, and pick things up for yourself. You know, so great. Listen, great environments, great memories, great times. You know, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You know, they had their own challenges, but it was great.
Who were kind of some of the good players that came through for kind of Hamilton and Rangers at that time?
Well, Hamilton, when I was there, James McCarthy. James MacArthur was a youth player. Actually, Ryan McGregor's dad, Jerry. Ryan, one of my players, his dad Jerry was up there with Billy Kerr, the goalie coach, up there with. So there was a lot of good players came through Hamilton at the time. You know, sold on a lot. The two Jameses were kind of higher profile. There into the Rangers, a lot of good players there. You know, like Liam Kelly was a Motherwell goalie now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He was there. Jack Baird, Ayr United. Tom Walsh, I think's at Inverness now. Lewis Spence, I think's playing at Hamilton. So you know, a lot of boys there that have progressed their careers, are making a good living in the game now. You know, and back in the day when they were younger players, you could see how talented they were. You know, some of them were exceptional, really good. You know, and it was a joy to kind of work with them and coach them. You know what I mean? And even just give a wee part. You know what I mean? To help them progress their career. You know, but there've been, you know, a lot of the lads that I've worked with, I'm yet to meet a lad really. It's been, you know, there's no tried their best and gave their all. So it's no, it was good. It was good to see them coming through, and it's even better now when they're a bit older, seeing guys like Liam getting Scotland caps, and you know, and Xander Clark at St Johnstone as well, as an goalie at Hamilton, and Xander, and watching these lads getting Scotland caps and stuff like that, and doing well. Greg Taylor at Celtic, and, you know, Greg actually played for me at Rangers. He's at Celtic now, so No, and delighted for all the boys. They're forging themselves great careers and that, and I continue to wish them well. They're great lads. So
yeah, definitely. We'll touch a bit about your time at Irvine Meadow as well. What was the kind of reaction to that, and how did that come about?
We myself and Stevie had a very successful Ashfield team. We got promoted for the bottom league right up to the top league. Kind of won a couple of big trophies, appeared in a couple of big cup finals, and we did really, really well. Lads like Gary McCann, Chris Hall, Mark Thompson's, Jamie Smith, Andy Brands. Very good side, and beating a lot of the big boys. Including Pollok, your Irvine Meadows and stuff like that along the way. At Auchinleck Talbot, I think we beat Auchinleck Talbot 3 times in one season. I don't think there's been an A club since. But, it was remarkable. So we had a very successful team. And obviously things were coming to a kind of end at Irvine Meadow. I think it was Chris Strain, was the manager, who had a very successful period. Chris was an excellent manager, had a very, very successful period, at Irvine Meadow, and won a lot of trophies there and stuff. But that was coming to an end, and we were approached to go, and it was one of these opportunities that, they were a giant at that point. It was an opportunity to go there and try and progress and try and win some more trophies, maybe some better resources behind us and stuff like that at the time, which we had. So it was a good opportunity. Great club. I've got to say, great setup, great pitch. Met a lot of great people down there as well. Had a lot of great memories down there also. Probably not the best ending yet. But that's football. That's what happens. That's what we've moved on for that. Everybody's moved on for that. Us people at the club and stuff like that. So, I've been doing and I've been welcome since. So it was a good spell. It was a good spell for us. We were relatively successful there as well. So there's some great stories there. I know. Boys like Robert Halliday and all that. Wee Berto, Chris on Wee Berto. He's an immense Scot, honestly. One of the best stories. Wee Berto, you used to phone me all the time, Scott. Can you pick us up? We were travelling down from Glasgow, and I'm going, aye, all right. But I was like, do you know what I mean? It's constantly, a Saturday morning, having to leave an hour early, go and pick Cam up, and you're driving down, and all the way down, you're like, right, if you got your juice, you got to say, aye, got it. And every time you're like, you've got to just pull into the garage, the Q8 garage, right? Do you know what I mean? And this guy, honestly, this day, it was brilliant. Guy stops the motor, he's in the garage, and the guy stops him. He's got all these plasma tellies in the back of his motor. So he's like, you want to buy a telly and that? And he's going, aye, how much is that? £100. So he's like, I'll buy a telly £100. So it's lost the elephant and all that. So I'm like, man, I'm sitting in the motor and I'm going like that. And the wee man's out and he's like, Murdo, buy one. He's through the window. He's got it holding up like the European Cup. Tapping it on his seat. £100, bargain. It's a bargain. Do you know what I mean? Buy one. And I'm like, you're all right, hurry up. He's into the shop and he comes out. And I've said to him, he's put it open your boot, you put it in. I said, where's the remote control? He says, I don't know, man, there somewhere. Takes the selfie. There's not even a plug on it, honestly. No even a plug on it. Takes it into the garage and the wee woman puts a plug on it for him, plugs it in. It's all broke, it's all cracked. the wee guys pulled out of the roundabout. There's a big roundabout. So the wee guy, he's beating the horn, waving at him and all that. So he's in the, honestly, I'm in stitches by this point. I'm doubled in two and he's getting it. Don't tell the boys that, Regan. I'm like, I'll not tell them. I've already told them. I've already messaged them, you know what I mean? So they're all waiting on them coming. You know what I mean? Honestly, pelters he got, but it was some boy, some crack. It was great. But good players as well, Scott. Mark Staunton's, Mark Twaddle. A lot of good players there as well. Yeah,
definitely. Well, we'll obviously move on to your time at Pollok. You went there first as assistant, then you get the manager's job in 2018. Like, how good's it been being the manager of that club?
It's an unbelievable club. It's a brilliant club, brilliant people. But the support I get is second to none. I've got to be honest with you. I think Chris could share with you about in terms of a player's perspective yet, but I think from my regard, I think the players are extremely well looked after. Not only financially, but obviously everything they get walking through the door, kit, how the pitch is, how it's looked after. If they need anything to get it, we've got Big Del, kit man there with and Del's brilliant and all. And I mean, spoils them rotten, man. Sweeties and all that. Absolutely spoils them rotten. But great people, great club, brilliant fan base. What's not to like about it? It's a great club. Listen, it's like a full-time job, I'm not lying, it is, and I'm sure a lot of the other managers at our level will say the same. It's like a full-time job, when a football manager, you're a social worker, you're a friend, you're a confidant, you're Do you know, you're all that.
Please try to manage yours.
Try to manage game, honestly. You're an amateur psychologist. Do you know what I mean? You're all that. Do you know what I mean? It's like Chris B. Fraz and all that. Do you know what I mean? It's trying to get in their heads. It's unreal, you know. But it's rewarding. It's worth it. And I'm fortunate enough that, you know, I've only been out of the game. If I'm being honest with you, I've only been out of the game for 2 weeks. When we left Irvine Meadow, I've been out of the game 2 weeks, and probably I was thinking about this the other day, and probably about 35 years, because I've been playing since I was a kid, no stop, and then into coaching and managing. It's probably 2 weeks, and honestly, in all that time, I was thinking back and reflecting on that. But you know, it's rewarding. I love it. I'm fortunate I've got a family who kind of support us on that, and with the time and all that, and it's a commitment, and it's a commitment for the boys and all that as well. But you know, I absolutely love it. It's brilliant. You know what I mean? And listen, all good things come to an end at some point. You know what I mean? So it's kind of enjoy the ride while you're doing it. Do you know what I mean? And while it's going, and just try and be as successful as you can. And that's what we want to do. We want to try and be as successful as we can for Pollok and bring back some of the bigger trophies that we're kind of the supporters are longing for, and the club are longing for. You know, but great people, Scott. Honestly, I can't speak highly enough of the club and the people running about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, we'll come to you quickly before we move into the quickfire questions. What sort of managers Murdo like to play for, and what's your best Murdo story?
Oh, he's a nightmare. Nightmare. Nah, it's been brilliant, great. The first season obviously kind of came to a halt in March because of the coronavirus, so we've not had a full kind of season, but it's been brilliant. Loved it, enjoyed it. What else can I say? He's right there, so I need to keep my mouth shut, don't I? I'm trying to get this Saturday, Scott.
Right, we'll move into some quickfire questions. I don't know if you've seen the show, but what we do is we ask the manager quickfire questions, and then we ask the player for their teammates, and then Murdo, you can obviously interact if you disagree or give us your thoughts and the answers that Chris gave. So we'll start with your quickfire questions. Murdo, you good with that?
Aye, no problem.
Brilliant. Right, we'll start off with the first question. Gerrard or Postecoglou?
Gerrard all day long.
Win the league or win the Junior Cup?
My word. I think I would need to go for the league now, because it allows us to promote ourselves through the pyramid.
Has the infrastructure at the club changed since you first arrived?
Yes, absolutely. It has. It's got stronger, and it's continuing to get stronger, and it will get stronger as we move forward.
How big are your ambitions to move up the ladder in Scottish football?
Personally or for Pollok?
We'll go both. We'll start with personally.
Personally, yeah. Obviously, I want to try and compete at the highest level I can. I'm very, very happy at Pollok. You know, I'm very, very happy, and I hope that I can kind of progress my career with Pollok along the way. You know, we're journey together. You know, and we're progressing the club through the pyramid and up into the leagues, into the Lowland League, and going beyond. Every club will kind of find its level, won't it? So looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. What's the ambitions with Pollok?
To go and play at the highest level we can. Like I say, our ambitions, you mentioned you win the league or win the Junior Cup. You know, that's a really tough one, Scott. You know, it's a real tough one. You know, I'm desperate to win the Junior Cup. You know, I would love to. You know, people have done it before me. You know, well up to Tony. You know, great memories yet, and other people have great memories. You know, I would love to do that, and I would love the boys to do it more than anything. And Chris will tell you, I often speak to them about, you know, their doing things like that, because that's the things they'll remember. You know, 20-year time when they're retired and they've got their wains and their whatever coming to the games, and you know, they'll remember the team that they played in. That was a team, that was a manager, that was the boys, that was my mate in the team, and that's when we won the cup and we won the league. You know, so that's what matters to me. And I think, you know, putting that to the boys as well. You know, but we want to go and progress as a club and get to the highest level we can, and whether that ends up in league football and, you know, we final level there, then that would be fantastic. That would be great. As I say, we're not going to make any big, you know, announcements here or big plans. We will find our way, and we'll try our very best to progress the club. And you know, I'm sure I'll get the support to try and do that. And this group of boys that I've got, I know they'll give everything to do that. I know that. You know, I'm confident of that. You know, they're tremendous football players, but importantly, you know, great lads, absolutely brilliant lads. So I hope we can all do it together.
Definitely. Who will win the Ryder Cup, USA or Europe?
Europe. Too strong. They've got a strong mentality. They're too strong.
Out there, because I've seen the Tiger Woods picture behind them.
Tiger Woods in the background.
I see it.
There we go. Right. I'm What do you think, Chris? Give us who's going to win the Ryder Cup?
Obviously, I'd hope the Europeans, but you look at that American side, that's as strong as it's ever been. See, just watching golf, the majors, I love watching Americans. I really do. I love watching Justin Thomas and Spieth, Morikawa, DeChambeau. He's my favourite to watch. I just think he's a character, brings something different. But obviously, coming into this weekend, I'll certainly not be supporting them, but I hope Europe... Will they? It's America's time, I think, isn't it? They've not won in the last few years, so we've just got to keep our fingers crossed.
We've got a golf pro in the team, so big Brian Watton. So he's the only golf pro that I've not been able to watch because we can't get a lesson meal. You know what I mean? Our handicaps are a shambles, and we've got a golf pro in the team. It's a disgrace, honestly.
It's not got space for us.
He keeps telling me I've not got space for you. I just don't think he's got the tools to be able to fix my golf swing. I think that's
brilliant.
A great weekend to look forward to, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to the Ryder Cup. That'll obviously kick off to Friday night. Murdo, you could sign 3 players from fellow West of Scotland teams. Who would it be?
Oh
man.
This will upset some of the boys in the team position.
I know. If I didn't need to let any of my own boys go, we'll put it at that because I'm happy with my own boys. Listen, there's good players out there. Let me think. Graham Wilson, Pollok like Talbot. I know he's been quite popular in terms of this question.
Yeah, he's come up quite a few times.
Graham's a handful. Good goal scorer. Good player as well. He's been a very good player. Listen, Shankers might be in there.
He'll love that. He's come up quite a few times actually as well.
Listen, Shankers a good player. He's technically excellent. He's
bit in it.
Really good. You can talk. It's easy picking guys like Big Andy Leishman, but I've got Jordan Longmuir there, who's top class and all. So I don't really need a goalkeeper there. Do you know what I mean? But it's wee Taz. I've always liked wee Taz at Hurlford. I've always liked Taz. I like his attitude of the game and all that. I like how he gets in about it and all that. And you get him the same way to wee man all the time. You know what I mean?
Top player. Taz.
Great. Smashing player. You get him the same way all the time. He's on that part. He's hard his nails, and he's technically a really good player and all. Scores goals and that. And then when he comes off, he's always got a wee bite about him and that. But he's great. He's got great crack. So probably wee Taz. Probably Graham Wilson, and I'm going to go Craig McCracken. There you go.
Okay. Very good. Best player played with or managed?
Best player played with or managed? There are a few of them, tell you. Back in my earlier days, guys like Jamesy McNeil and that were top players, man. Really, I don't know if you remember him, Scott, but top player. Outstanding. Frank Haggerty, played with Frank Haggerty as well.
I've heard of him now.
Frankie ex-Pollok, ex-Club Meadow as well. Unbelievable talent, by the way. Unbelievable. Frankie was at Rangers. We played at the boys' club now when we were younger, and Frankie went into Rangers and we played there for a long time as well. Really class act. So he was class act. A lot of similarities. I'm not just saying this to Chris. You know what I mean? How he glides with the ball, his ability to manoeuvre the ball and stuff like that. Really good. So Frank Haggerty would be up there. I would say Big Maxie as well, Big Paul Maxwell. Paul Maxwell was great to play with. Believe it or not, Chris, I done Big Maxie's running. Just put him in. Stevie used to put him in. You know what I mean? So he did in the middle of the park sometimes, raising that. So Big Paul was a good player as well for a number of reasons. Just how he was, how competitive he was in that, Scott. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, even for a youngster. Do you know what I mean? He was ultra competitive, Maxie. Do you know what I mean? A real winner. So. Lot of good players in terms of managed. I'm looking at guys like Chris Duff, Sean Fraser's, Gary McCann has been brilliant for me over the years. Gary's been outstanding for me. Him and Sean. Yeah. Kind of been longest way me. I would have to say I would be siding on them. Not to say that I've not got other players who are as good now, but they've been with me the longest time through Ashfield, Duff and Meadow, and then into Pollok, obviously. So it would be a toss of the coin between the two lads. Unbelievable talents.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, we'll move into you. We'll go through some of the teammate questions, and you can answer basically who you think, and obviously Murdo can chip in if he agrees or disagrees. So we'll start off with best trainer.
Oh God, that's my word. That's a toughie. You've got me there.
Chris, would you know? You'd need to be up there.
Oh, sorry. We Danny McKenzie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aye, Danny.
I'm no far off it, I'll tell you. I'm no far off it.
No. I think you've been hard on yourself. I think you could be up there. I think you could be up there, Chris.
Aye. I'll just edge it to be Danny. We Danny McKenzie.
Who's the worst?
Brian Watt. I don't even know. Or Grant Evans, sorry. Still waiting for them to train this season.
Aye. You need to actually train to be classified as bad trainers, do they know?
Aye, Scott, that's who I'm going with. I'll go with Brian and Grant.
Brilliant. Team Hardman.
Dale Esplin Heinz is.
Aye, brilliant. Him and Ian Russell's there used to kick lumps at each other at training. Honestly, it was scandalous. So it was.
Wee Frazzy, is that him?
Wee Frazzy's no hard. He just likes to scream and shout at people.
The Team Hardman, I don't know. What you saying, Gaffer?
Aye.
Grant Evans likes to think it also, didn't he?
You can't be hard when you're injured that much, though.
Oh God.
We Esplin, we Esplin could be.
I'll give him his due. He's tough in that middle of that park.
Aye, he's tough. Listen, Fordy's a tough wee nut, isn't he?
He is. He
is a tough wee nut. He's hard. He gets stuck in and all. You know what I mean? So they all get stuck in. To be fair to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aye. Do Dale Esplin. We'll put him down as the enforcer.
Brilliant. Most skillful.
I'm getting it to be Fordy. Me and Matty Grant, the young boys just signed. He's got to be there, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
But I've played with Fordy for a wee year or two now, so I'll get it to Fordy. Matty Grant's just it's a toughie.
Aye.
I'm going to just edge before Fordy.
I think for me, looking outside, it'd be a toss up between yourself and Fordy.
Yeah.
A toss up. I know you don't want to mention yourself again, but a toss up between yourself. Wee Adam's great on the ball, brilliant. Matty's terrific and on. He's really, really good.
Plenty
Aye, a lot of skillful players. Even Sean Fraser. Sean Fraser's
as he's skillful, yeah.
Ball. Frightening.
Right, I'll get to Adam Fordy.
Okay, quickest player.
Stuart McCann. Matty Grant. I'm going with Stuart McCann, I think.
Who's the quickest member of the management team?
I'm not saying me Vargas. You'll love that.
He'll lap that up. Your wee man plays in the 7-a-side games.
Brilliant. Slowest player.
Slowest player. Oh, why did I think about Brian Watt straight away there? But see, to be fair, the big man, he's got a ton of pace. I seen it last week. I think he has got a ton of pace there, hasn't he? I've got to give to Big Joe, the goalkeeper. Big Joe. I've seen him playing a few times this season. Oh,
that's a liberty, Chris.
Scott, I'm giving it to Joe, the goalkeeper.
Joe, the goalkeeper.
We've got any slow coaches in the team, haven't we? Over?
Nah, I'm giving it to Joe. Celtic goal. I can't remember who it was coming off his line. Who was that against it? Chips? Was it rather than Glencairn? Yeah, I think it was. Aye, so I'm giving it to Joe. Yeah.
So Joe gets slowest player. Best character.
It's be Frazzy for me. By a shot. Oh.
Easy.
What do you think, Gaffer? Be Frazzy.
Easy. Aye. He's
legend, absolute legend. Some of
his outbursts are unbelievable. Right in the middle of training and that. Do you know? He's some boy. He's
a great guy. Great lads.
Brilliant. Worst dress sense.
Worst dress sense.
Not going to lie, Brian Wharton came to heed there.
Yes, he came to my head as well. Aye.
He likes a Geely and a skip cap and all that.
Yeah. Throwing it in with that beard in his ponytail. He's wearing the new man. What you call him?
Aye, beard, ponytail, skip cap, flip flops.
Brian Morton. We'll keep to Brian Morton.
Brian Morton. Final question: teacher's pet or manager's pet?
Dale Esplin. That's it. Dale Esplin.
No brainer.
No brainer.
I don't know. Frazzy could be a no. I've got a phone call for Frazzy, so I do.
Oh, he's not one of the ones, is he? God. Aye, I'll get to Dale Esplin, Scott.
Brilliant. So we opened the floor up to fan questions as well. We got one for Murdo here. Ask Murdo about the story with the tie and the firework at Ashfield.
Oh no, man. Right, so honestly, like I say, we went through a spell at Ashfield. I was playing at the time. Stevie Rankin was the manager, and we went through a spell in the dressing room where people were cutting each other's gear up, Scott. Right, and Stevie spoke to us a couple of times. He's like, "This has got to stop." So there was a guy, Mick McBrearty. Michael played with Rob Roy, that. A lot of junior teams, really experienced player, middle of the park. And Michael's one of these guys you could have put a £3,000 suit on and he'd look like a tramp. Do you know that way? and he had a really good job at that time. So at that point, you're seeing people running about in Range Rovers now. And Michael was running about in Range Rovers 20 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Project manager with a building firm. So he always wore a suit. And he comes into the dressing room this day and he's got this tie on. And it's like somebody threw fucking pots of paint over it. It was disgraceful. Honestly, it was terrible. He's like, what do you think of that, lads? Pure silk. So it's, 50 quid, pure silk, and we're all like that, fucking shambles. So we had Paul McDougall in the dressing room, right? So Paul, on the flip side, is one of these boys. See, if it's Christmas, he's selling Christmas decorations. You know what I mean? See, so it was fireworks, it was bonfire night. And so he's one of these guys, it's just, he's selling something all the time, So it comes to the bonfire night, and he comes in, and we're training running the wee Ash Park behind Ashfield, and it's pitch black. Stevie's put a couple of lights up for us in it, and we're training in there. And we comes round to the main ground after training, and you can't see a thing in front of you. And all you hear is out in the middle of the pitch, "Oh, McBrearty!" And we're like, look, peering out, and there's McDougall standing in the middle of the park, like Graham Souness, remember at Galatasaray where he planted the flag? He's got a rocket about that size. So he has, I'm not exaggerating, this thing was ginormous, right? And he's got McBrearty's tie tied to it. So he's tied it to the rocket, and he just goes like that, lights it, and it goes right up with the tie on it, man, honestly. It was done in ribbons. There's the scheme at the back of the Ashfield in Postle's called the Jungle. That's what they call the scheme, the Jungle. So it goes boom, it lights up the jungle, honestly, the whole thing. And you see McDougall standing in the middle of the park with his hands in there and the tie fluttering down round about him. McBrearty raging, absolutely fuming. So he is. So honestly, we're all hanging out of the wall, Doubleton too. So we're like, his new tie. You know what I mean? He's delighted. He's delighted with himself, McDougall. He's out there in the middle of it, delighted with himself. So he is, but like, honestly, it's something we've always howled about it. See, every time we meet up about it, we talk about it. You know what I mean? It's hilarious, man. So the midweek after it, McDougall's in for a shower, and he comes out and he catches McBrearty cutting the crotch out his joggies. He's got a pair of snizzles out the physio's bag. You know what I mean? They end up rolling about with him. So Stevie done his nothing. No more. You know what I mean? Honestly, at that time, there was another big guy, John Latham. His flip flops, they get stapled, they get halted gun to the wall, the wooden panelling wall in the dressing room. All that, people you're getting stapled, getting tied together, knots and all that, and you couldn't get them out. It's horrendous, man. Brilliant. That was horrendous. But that was McDougall and McBrearty's tie in the rocket. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant. What is the best chant you've ever heard from a fan in a football park? We'll start with Chris. Give us the best chant you've ever heard. You don't need to keep it clean.
Best chant? Oh, you're fucking shite, Duff.
That was me. That was a fan. That was me.
Oh, no. Oh, to think, it's hard. I can't think. Come on, Gaff, you've been longer than me.
You must have a few.
No, I could mention on this, no. I could mention on this. Aye. No, Honestly, aye. Listen, you get pelters, don't you? You get pelters. I just I've become accustomed to it. I remember, talking about banter by fans, but there's an old guy, he supports our club. He's been on the committee at Pollok a long time, Jimmy Gilligan. He was unwell for a long time now. It's been great to see Jimmy back at a couple of the games. And I remember I joined Pollok, and obviously I'd been at a couple of other clubs competing against Pollok, and old Jimmy comes out to me and he says, "Hi Murdo, it's great to have you here, Ways, and I would just like to apologise for all the expletives I've called you over the years." I knew bother, Jimmy. Brilliant. For that was brilliant, you know what I mean? But aye, look, some of the banter with the supporters has been brilliant. It's been great over the years, you know what I mean? I used to have a really good banter with the Clydebank supporters, and I remember the Bankies, when Budgie was the manager of the Bankies, me with Ashfield, and myself and Stevie went to Irvine Meadow, and I remember Tam Robertson, who was in charge at Ashfield. Do you remember him phoning me up? I think Ashfield get beat 7-0 with Clydebank the summer we left. They played in the League Cup section, 7-0. And he says, "Murdo, there was about a dozen of them waiting outside the changing room." He says, "And I came out, where's MacKinnon? We're looking for, where is he?" He says, "I'm up in Meadow." So, listen, that goes to show. Brilliant. Some great laughs the other years from a lot of supporters.
Definitely. We'll move into the final wee part of the show. We will look at what's coming up. So, Pollok, obviously, the second round of the Junior Cup, he's going to Irvine Vicks. Chris, how excited are you to go to Irvine Vicks and hopefully get through to the third round of the Junior Cup?
Can't wait for it. It's the Scottish Junior Cup. It's a massive occasion, isn't it? Regardless of who you play, where you play, it's just that feeling you get the Friday night, Saturday to the game. It's just that different feeling. So again, I can't wait for it.
Definitely. Murdo, what's your thoughts in going to Irvine on Saturday?
Aye, listen, they'll get their full respect. As I say, I've been down there a lot with Merrimack games and stuff like that. When I was at Irvine down there, and I know, they've got a good wee following, good club, good people there, and they'll be tough. And the reports I've got back is it'll be a tough game. So we want to do well in the Junior Cup. We were very disappointed that it get cancelled when we were in the semi-final. So
that's right. Yeah,
we're looking to kick on. So they'll get our full respect on Saturday. A tough game.
Yeah, definitely. And then it's on to two big league games coming up on Wednesday. You go to Irvine Meadow and then home to Auchinleck on the Saturday after that. Chris, they're two massive games. What's your thoughts on them?
Aye, Scott, you're right. Massive. Irvine Meadow on the Wednesday and the Talbot the Saturday. The old cliche, take each game one at a time. Got to just the Maiders first. Well, concentrate on Irvine Vicks on Saturday. Then the Wednesday game against the Maiders take care of itself, and then into the Talbot on Saturday again take care of itself. Don't want to say too much. Just take each game at a time.
Yeah, and definitely. Murdo, obviously Irvine Meadow on Wednesday and then Auchinleck on Saturday. We said they're massive games. What's your kind of thoughts going into them?
Listen, huge games, tough games, but we've had huge games already. So I know the boys will be up for it. But honestly, like Chris says, my focus is on Saturday and the kind of Junior Cup. I emphasise to the boys there's always a banana skin. There's always a slip up in every round of the cup, and we need to make sure it's no us. We need to make sure we're focused on the job at hand, and then once we get over that, we'll focus on Irvine Meadow. We're going down there, which I'm sure. Listen, we'll be in for a tough game in both those games with them and Talbot. We played Talbot in a friendly earlier on the season, which was great to get ourselves our first game going. Didn't go as well, but listen, it got us. It let us know where we were, which was important, and what we had to do to get where we are now. So they're tough games, but listen, massive games, aren't they? Brilliant, exciting. Really looking forward to them.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to wrap up the show there. I want to thank Murdo and Chris for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Scott.
And we're going to wish you...
Who do you back in the juniors?
Who do I back?
Who do you follow?
I don't follow MD. I just cover it as a neutral analyst.
A neutral.
Good question, Chris. Who do you think will win the games during the week?
I say nothing. I don't make predictions. I just follow it and report on it. But obviously, we'll wish you all the very best for the season as well. Thank you very much for coming on the show, and again, thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in. Please follow our social media pages and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channels. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll see you soon. Cheers.